So you should have tried these equations yourselves, but once you've given it a shot, if you want to see how it's worked out, here we go. First thing is noticing the coefficients, that we have a 2 in the given equation, but only a coefficient of 1 in the half reaction, which means the whole half reaction is going to happen twice. So if we double everything, we have 10 hydroxides plus 2 now of chromium hydroxide, CrOH sub 3. And then on the product side, we have 2 chromate ions, 8 waters, and 6 electrons. So remember now that we are going to subtract everything from the given oxidation half reaction, and that will give us the reduction half reaction. So when you're subtracting something that's not there, for instance, we have 0 hydroxides on the reactant side, we shift it to the other side of the equation. So 0 minus 10 is negative 10 hydroxides, which gives us 10 hydroxides now on the product side. And we'll add to that the 2 that we already had, will give us 12 hydroxides on the product side. And that takes care of that. 2 chromium hydroxide minus 2 chromium hydroxide, that will cancel out. 6 ClO negative, stay there. Now the chromate cancels out, 2 minus 2. And on the product side, we have 3 chlorines. We already took care of the hydroxide. Now here we have 2 waters minus 8 waters is negative 6. So that means we have 6 on the opposite side of the reactant. 6 H2O here on the reactant side. And 0 minus 6 electrons means we have plus 6 electrons on the opposite side. Now these coefficients are all divisible by 3, so we're going to simplify it to 2 ClO minus plus 2 waters plus 2 electrons. And that's going to yield 6 hydroxide ions and 1 chlorine gas molecule. Actually, that's not right. There's only going to be 4 hydroxides. There we go. Now everything should be balanced with respect to our electrons and with respect to numbers of atoms. Now for your second example, again, we need to double the half reaction that's given so that we have 2 manganese ions instead of only 1. So we'll double that, and that leaves us with 8 water molecules and 2 manganese ions on the reactant side, and on the product side, 2 permanganate ions. Double that gives us 16 H plus ions and 10 electrons. So now as we go through and subtract, 0 waters minus 8 waters is negative 8, so we move that to the product side and combine it with the 7 that were already there to give us 15 H2O. 2MnO2 plus minus 2Mn2 plus cancels out. 14H plus just comes down. And 5NaBiO5 also just comes down. Now we already took care of the water. 2 permanganate minus 2 permanganate will cancel. 5 sodiums come down, plus 5 bismuth ions. Now here we're subtracting 16 H plus ions, but we don't have any H plus, so we have to move that over to the reactant side. And we have an additional 16 H plus added to what was already there. And same thing for the electrons, minus 10 electrons on the product side. It's the same thing as plus 10 electrons on the product side. Now notice here that we have 16H plus and 14H plus, so I'm just going to erase all this and group those together. 16 plus 14 gives us 30 H plus ions. Now all of these coefficients are divisible by 5, so your last step is to simplify, and we've got 2 electrons plus 6 protons plus NaBiO5, and that's all yielding 3 waters, a sodium ion, and a bismuth ion. And that is your reduction half reaction. Reduction is gaining electrons, and we do indeed see electrons there on the reactant side. Everything is balanced and good to go.